In the summer of 2019, this intake tower in Chennai stood completely exposed. The reservoirs surrounding it had vanished, leaving behind nothing but parched, cracked earth. This was the ultimate manifestation of day zero, the moment a megacity's water account completely emptied out. With reservoir capacities plummeting to 0.1%, millions of residents across Indian cities were suddenly cut off from municipal taps. They were forced to rely on costly private water tankers just to secure their daily supply. This is no longer an isolated emergency. According to the United Nations, humanity has officially entered an era of global water bankruptcy. Looking at this globe, 50 of the world's 100 largest cities are flashing red, indicating they are on the brink of total failure. The most intense cluster of these overdrawn nodes sits right over the Indian subcontinent, with Delhi and Chennai at the epicenter. We are treating the global water supply like a finite bank account, one that major populations have now completely drained. When we over-extract our water, there is a physical cost. It's a process called land subsidence. As subterranean aquifers are pumped dry, the earth loses its internal support structure, causing the city buildings resting above it to physically drop downward. Because of this sinking ground, coastal cities like Jakarta and Mexico City are essentially drowning, as entire neighborhoods face chronic flooding. This graph charts the human cost of the deficit in rural India. There is a precise inverse correlation. As rainfall deficits drop, the mortality rates for farmers in states like Maharashtra and Telangana spike sharply upward. The deficit also carries a severe geopolitical cost. As shared rivers dry up, states are pushed into direct conflict, leading to massive protests over diminishing water flows, such as the ongoing Calvary River dispute. Sinking cities, civil unrest, and rising mortality rates all confirm that current consumption has reached a breaking point. To understand how we created this deficit, we have to look at two main drivers. First, climate change has brought erratic monsoons and severe heat waves that rapidly evaporate surface water out of rivers and reservoirs. Second, unregulated urban expansion has completely paved over the natural land that used to catch and absorb our rainfall. With surface water scarce and the ground sealed with concrete, populations have been forced into a massive reliance on groundwater. The scale of this extraction is staggering. In India alone, there are over 20 million active pumps drilling into the earth, pulling out 250 billion cubic meters of water every single year. This ledger shows why that model is a mathematical impossibility. Agricultural regions like Punjab are extracting 156% of their annual groundwater recharge. They are withdrawing vastly more than nature deposits. Because we cannot mandate more rainfall, avoiding a complete collapse requires a systemic overhaul in how we manage the water we actually receive. That overhaul requires us to start viewing irrigation as climate infrastructure. Viewing water structures as financial risk reduction mechanisms can stabilize rural incomes and halt the distress migration that follows a failed harvest. To execute this bailout effectively, modern science is stepping in. Planners are now auditing the Earth using GIS, Geographic Information Systems, and remote satellite sensing. Look at this 3D topographical map of the Kinnaur district in the Himalayas. Planners use this digital grid to locate nature's hidden water vaults. By analyzing factors like slope, drainage, and wetness indexes, the software pinpoints exact geographic zones with high potential recharge areas. Advanced mapping transforms a chaotic, unpredictable landscape into a precise ecological ledger, laying the groundwork for a targeted bailout. But satellite mapping is only the blueprint. The actual workforce executing this bailout operates at the grassroots level, led by groups like the Jal Sahelis, or Water Women, of Bundelkhand. These women are physically taking control of their local hydrology. They organize their communities to build check dams and dig the silt out of community ponds, ensuring their villages can capture and store water locally. To see the extreme end of this, look at Jagsa village in Rajasthan, a region that survives on a mere 284 millimeters of rain per year. To catch every single drop, the village deployed government-backed rooftop harvesting systems and sloping underground tanks, known as avors, which safely bank the rainfall. Securing that water allowed farmers in Jagsa to transition to highly lucrative pomegranate farming. This drastically multiplied their annual incomes and completely halted the need to migrate to cities for work. When local communities manage their own hydrological ledgers, they can successfully turn ecological bankruptcy into an economic surplus. Over the last 2 decades, India has built an extraordinary foundation of groundwater recharge infrastructure. But the phase of simply constructing ponds and tanks is over. The future strictly requires measuring and managing the outcomes of those structures. National survival now depends on rigorously tracking aquifer levels and maintaining the systems already in place to ensure they continue to perform year after year. Water can never again be treated as a localized, infinite right that we can tap at will. By treating water as a tightly managed asset, combining satellite data, smart infrastructure, and community ownership, we can balance the books. If we do, day zero becomes an avoidable warning rather than our inevitable destiny.